So I'm finally getting to it, the Crafton Unknown Worlds Subnautica 2 drama. This is what everyone asked for, the majority of people asked for in the poll I posted a while ago. It took me a while to get to it because unfortunately a lot of stuff has been happening the last month and a half. I've been very busy and my mental health hasn't been that great, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. I dropped the ball, but I'm doing it now. Now, there's a lot of stuff to cover with this. So while initially I was going to try to do a one-size-fits-all capture everything video where it was going to be one video that was going to go over the entire thing. I started to realize that if I did that and I did it with the amount of accuracy that I wanted to do it, it would be an incredibly long video. So instead, this video is going to be an overview. It's going to be a timeline of the events. It's going to be going over everything that's happened in like brief detail, and then all the points that I feel need elaborated on, or all the points that people in comments want me to elaborate on, I'm going to do individual videos for. That way there's no one video that's going to be like an hour long, take forever, and people aren't going to want to watch it. So here we go. This is the start of the video. This is the start of the timeline. Now, how did this all start? Crafton is a publishing company, but they're also a holdings company. They own a lot of other companies in the gaming space. And so basically, like, they may not be directly involved in the production of a lot of the games that, get the Crafton logo on it. They own the companies that are involved. They buy up these companies that are involved in making other games and then, fund them and benefit from them. But they also have control over them, so they can kind of tell them what to do and when and where and why. So back in October of 2021, I actually took notes for this one. A lot of times I don't take like super detailed like bullet points of what I want to talk about. When I do timelines, I do to make sure I'm doing it properly. Back in October of 2021, Crafton acquired Unknown Worlds for allegedly about $500 million. I was trying to find like firsthand sources, and unfortunately, when it comes to the financial side, I'm not always really good at the research. I need to figure that out more. I'm legitimately getting to the point where I'm thinking of like taking on someone to help me with the research and getting them to cut of the profits, just for as I'm branching out and talking about more stuff, it's harder and harder for me to know exactly what to do. They acquired Unknown Worlds for about $500 million, allegedly. Allegedly is a weird way to say that. With not an optional, but with a potential bonus of $250 million that was to be paid out if sales for Subnautica 2 reached a certain milestone by a certain date, and that plays a big part into this. Now, with the acquiring of Unknown Worlds was originally supposed to stay independent. Unknown Worlds was supposed to, like, basically, Crafton owns them. Crafton is responsible for them. Crafton is going to get a large part of their profits, but they were going to leave them as pretty much like leave them alone. Like, hey, we bought you, we own you, we're going to fund some of your stuff and we're going to take a profit from it, but you're going to be free to do whatever you want. You guys know what you've been doing. You guys know how to make this money. We're not going to tell you what to do. That recently has changed. That recently has become a thing where they have taken a much different stance on that. Now, skip ahead to about October of 2024, Unknown Worlds basically put out a statement saying, like, hey, we're planning on the Subnautica 2 early access to be going live sometime in 2025. What this would do is, one, make it so that we could finally play this game. I've been looking forward to Subnautica 2 for a while. I got Subnautica Below Zero on the early access. I played the hell out of the early access. That was really, really unfinished, and enjoyed it. But it was the big thing, too, was that this was, and how it affects this lawsuit and what's going on right now, is that this would, in a way, allow them to, now this wasn't announced at the time, but this would allow them to hopefully reach those milestones, those sales milestones that would get them to that $250 million payout. That if they reach these certain milestones, they will get a $250 million payout. All of a sudden, around end of June, early July 2025, they let the three leadership members of Unknown Worlds, Charlie Cleveland, Max McGuire, and Ted Gill, go. They originally did not, Crafton did. Crafton let the leadership go. They originally did not quite fully state exactly why they were letting them go. They kind of talked around it. They talked kind of surreptitiously around it. They said that they were committed to making sure that the game experience was good for the players, that this is all about the players, and they just want to make sure that they're getting a really, really good experience and they're getting it properly and nothing's being rushed and blah, blah, blah. They put Steve Paputis, the one of the devs, the producer for the Callisto Protocol and Dead Space, in charge of Unknown Worlds, instead of Charlie Cleveland, Max McGuire, and Ted Gill. They didn't 100% stay why they were firing the leadership. They like I said, they kind of talked around it. But the next thing they did was delay the early access. Well, they did end up saying after comments from the former leadership of Unknown Worlds, they ended up saying that basically they fired the three because they appeared to have abandoned production and abandoned working and developing Subnautica 2. They allege, Crafton is alleging essentially that after they got this $500 million payout, that those three kind of stopped caring about the development of the game. They were working on their own projects, or working on the own things they cared about, and not upholding their agreement to develop Subnautica 2, and that's why they had to let them go. The leadership of Crafton, or the leadership of Unknown Worlds, rather, is saying that it didn't have anything to do with that, that Crafton is intentionally trying to delay the release of Subnautica 2. That way, Subnautica 2 will be released either after the date for that $250 million payout milestone. So, like, say that milestone was supposed to be, December 31st of 2025. If they release it on December 30th of 2025, it's going to be really hard for them to meet those milestones. Or if they release it on January 1st of 2026, they won't be able to reach those milestones. I don't know the specific dates for those milestones, but essentially the former leadership of Unknown Worlds is trying to say that their goal is to stop them from reaching those milestones. That way they don't have to pay out that $250 million. And a little bit of evidence is given to that based on the fact that one of the first things that Crafton did after, and I'm not saying this is what they're doing. I'm saying this is not helping them, is that one of the first things that Crafton did after letting go the, Cleveland, McGuire, and Gill was to delay the release of Subnautica 2's early access into 2026. They did this while stating that there's a lot of areas that need improvement. They're committed to the game being released to players in a very great state. They want it to be, a fully fleshed out game, blah, blah, blah. If it were any other company, I might believe this. I'm going to opine on this a little bit. If it was, I wouldn't say if it was any other company. If it was another company, I might believe that's what they care about. But one, early access games aren't finished games. The players know that. If you buy an early access game and you're expecting a fully fleshed out game, you're wrong. And I'm pro early access to some extent because early access allows player feedback in the development of the game. So if they're using early access as a way to get player feedback of what would you like to see in the finished product of this game, what do we need to work on, and basically using it as a massive bug test, like, hey, we're releasing this thing, we don't have the resources to test every single possible thing that might go wrong in this game, but if the players are giving us feedback, we can fix it before the full release. And it's kind of this unspoken agreement between the players, the people that bought the game, and the devs of, the players aren't going to get a finished game at first. They will get it when it's fully released, and the devs are going to use the player feedback to improve the end product. And as long as both of those things are being met, then I'm pro early access. But it does lend to the fact that they intentionally delayed it to 2026 after firing the heads of Unknown Worlds does lend to the fact that they might be trying to get out of paying this $250 million bonus. And to opine on did the three leadership, the Cleveland, McGuire, and Gill, I was about to say McGill, Better Call Saul, Cleveland, McGuire, and Gill stop caring about the game and the development of the game after they got paid out? That's like, I can see both sides of this, right? I can see, like, if you paid me $500 million, if you gave me if I sold the Running Game Entertainment channel for $500 million, that might change my priorities. That might, right now, Subnautica and the Subnautica franchise was Unknown World's cash cow. That was their paycheck. That's how they were getting it. If all of a sudden you said, you don't have to worry about your paycheck anymore, you're good for the rest of your life, that might change the thing. If I sold Running Game Entertainment to someone and they said, hey, we want you to keep putting out videos on this one topic. Like I sell it to Pocket Pair, and Pocket Pair is like, hey, we want you to keep putting out videos on Power World. I'm gonna still keep putting out videos on Power World, one because I like doing it, and two because I have that level of integrity. But I might be more willing to branch out and talk about more things. Now, this is not my primary source of income, so this is not quite the same thing. But like, you know what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. What I'm trying to get at here is something I would keep doing just because I enjoy it and because integrity. But you're getting what I'm saying here. I can see the world where they got paid $500 million and said, we now have the money and the time and the lack of like worry, like we don't have to worry about our paycheck to work on other projects as well, other passion projects of their own as well. But at the same time, there was a $250 million payout that they were trying to reach. They were trying to get that $250 million. So saying, oh, they got $500 million, so they didn't care about that $250 million anymore is kind of a wild statement. I can see both sides of this argument. I'm not sure what's 100% going on there, and I'm looking into it more. After firing the leadership of Unknown Worlds, the leadership ended up filing that lawsuit. They filed one of the lawsuits that's going on, and Crafton filed a countersuit. The basis of the lawsuit by Cleveland, McGuire, and Gill is on that matter of trying to claim, alleging that Crafton is merely trying to intentionally delay the development of Subnautica 2 to not pay that milestone. They're also claiming that they're just doing other things to try to sabotage the development of Subnautica 2 in just every way they possibly can. Again, they don't want to pay out the $250 million. Crafton claims, again, that they abandoned the project. They lost interest, that they had a deal. Hey, we're going to buy this company for $500 million. And when we buy this company for $500 million, you're going to develop this game for us. That's how we're getting our money back. You are developing this game. It's going to make us a profit after you made your profit. And Crafton is claiming that they did not uphold their end of the bargain. And Crafton ended up filing a countersuit with them in August, against them in August. The Cleveland, McGuire, and Gill filed their suit, I believe, in late July, early August. Or maybe mid-July, early August. Crafton responded with a countersuit. And that's kind of where we're at right now with the lawsuit. But one of the big things that is not really working in Crafton's favor, I think I did a video on it. I don't remember. It might be the one I took down because it just did so poorly, and I was worried it was going to affect the analytics of the channel. But one of the big things about that's not helping Crafton right now is one of the claims that Cleveland, McGuire, and Gill made is that the Crafton CEO used ChatGPT to try to find a way to get out of the payout and get out of some of the legal stuff and the legal issues, and we're trying to find ways to not pay out this $250 million. Initially, that seemed like a kind of wild statement, but apparently the Crafton and also that they were ordered to delete all evidence of wrongdoing. The CEO ordered his subordinates to delete all evidence of wrongdoing. The kind of wild thing that came out really recently, and I want to look into it more before I put out a video saying anything, because I'm getting a lot of secondhand stuff. I want to see if I can get a firsthand source. And I know it's there. One of the kind of wild things is, again, that the Crafton CEO apparently, allegedly came out and straight up said, yeah, no, I use ChatGPT. He was saying he was using ChatGPT. From what I saw, from the sources I saw, he was saying that he was using ChatGPT to basically expedite his research into how to get out of some of the legal crap that's going on between him and the Crafton team, between Crafton and the Unknown Worlds former leadership. But it was, just using it as a tool to do the research, which is you're a company that has enough money to buy another smaller company for $500 million, and rather than get some lawyers to look into it, have your legal team look into it, hire outside counsel to look into it, you use ChatGPT. But he allegedly, again, I want to see the first-hand sources, but I know they're there. Uh, but he allegedly went out and said, "Yeah, I used ChatGPT and I deleted the logs," which is a wild thing to say in the middle of a lawsuit because it's destruction of evidence in a way, because that is evidence on the side. If that is exactly what they did, if that's what they did, that's evidence on the side of the Unknown Worlds team that they were in fact looking for ways to get out of paying these people their payout, and that they ended up deleting the evidence that they did that, apparently. But that's where I'm going to wrap up this video now. I wanted to do, like I said, I wanted to do a video that was a general overview of this, and then I'm gonna start nitpicking the individual things and put out more videos discussing each individual point, like going over a little bit more of the evidence, a little bit of the ChatGPT stuff, a little bit of the back and forth, seeing if I can get a hold of the court documents and actually going over the court documents in a little bit more detail. But I wanted to, at very least, get out a shorter, simpler video that caught everyone up to speed about what is happening, and that way, like, everyone has the background evidence, and that way I don't have to give it in the next video. I don't have to do a 45-minute to hour-long video going over everything and explaining every little point. With that, ending this video, if you've reached this far, please follow the subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment, hype. Every bit of engagement help the video do better. I will be putting out more videos on this topic, as well as continuing to talk about the Power World stuff when there's finally an update. If you guys are mad that I'm not putting out more Power World videos, I'm mad that I'm not putting out more Power World videos too. There's just nothing new happening, and I don't want to just manufacture drama, and I don't want to just manufacture a video. If I'm going to make a video on something, there's going to be a reason for making a video. I have a video in mind that I am going to be hopefully putting out this week, but I don't want to be manufacturing stuff. So I'm mad about that too, because those videos do the best and those videos make me money. But yeah, with that, please consider subscribing. If you're interested in the Craft and Power World stuff, or the Craft and Subnautica stuff, I'm going to be talking more about that. If you want to sign up for memberships, every $1 from the memberships will go straight to my editor to reach such a point that I could afford to hire him on full time. If you're interested in just me as a person and you want to hear me do some of my storytelling, please click on the playlist over there. But with that, video over. Goodbye. Fuck Crafton.